Hello. So in this tutorial we'll be designing this frame, and to make things a little bit fast, I actually made the sketch. So what you can do is and this sketch is on the, let me check the plane. It's on the right plane, and what you can do is you can pause it and just draw the sketch and add all these dimensions to it. And another thing you can do is I'm also going to include the link to download this sketch in the description. So just to make things fast, if you don't want to draw the sketch, you can download the file from the link, and it will just be just the sketch. So you'll start from there. And another thing is, if you want to learn about the sketch and everything, I also have a link in the description of a course that I made that will teach you how to use SolidWorks from beginning. So that will teach you how to draw a sketch. So just in case if you don't know how to draw a sketch. So to start, let me just hide that, and this is what our sketch looks like, and we'll be starting from this point. So the first thing I'm going to do is, on the sketch I have this solid circle, and I'm going to extrude that. And just in case let me make sure, just in case you don't have card grab, let me make sure and show that again so you can see all the dimensions. So just again, I'm going to move this around so it is clear, and this is a 5, and it's just a dimension that is going from this origin point to that line. So let me move it there. So I'm trying to make sure you can see everything, just in case if you choose not to download the file. And pause it and make sure you draw the sketch. So the best way to do it is look at this shape and try to draw this shape first, then go into the sketch and add the dimensions to it. Again, this is the dimension. So okay, to start, we are going to extrude this circle, and we're going to extrude it by the mid plane, and I'm working in millimeters, and it is going to be 76.2. So 76.2, and click OK. So the next thing we are going to do is click on this face, and we are going to draw a sketch, and normal 2, and I'm just going to draw a circle right on that origin point going out, and my dimension is going to be 51, and I'm going to extrude it 15. So it's going to be going 15 in that direction, and click OK. And oh, I did extrude cut, excuse me. So make sure you select the extrude, and I'm going to be going in that direction 15, and click OK. So I have something like that. The next thing I'm going to do is mirror it over. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to find my plane that I want to mirror it about. In this case, it's going to be that right plane, and the feature to mirror is that, and click OK. So I have it mirror, and the next thing I want to do is add my fillets. So I add a fillet over here, and I also add a fillet over there. My fillet size for that one will be 5, and click OK, and click OK. So we have that fillet. We're going to add another fillet. I have my material on it now. It might be confusing for you, so let me just remove that appearance for now so you see what's going on. And maybe I will turn off my real graphics, so I'll turn it off so you see what's going on. And I'm just going to go back into that part. So again, the next thing we want to do is add another fillet. So fillet, add it to this top edge and that top edge over here, and that fillet size will be 2, and click OK. And the next thing we are going to do is Now we can start adding these shapes. So the first thing we are going to do is on the right plane, select draw a sketch. Let me go normal too. So I'm on the right plane and I'm in the sketch mode now. I'm going to select this line and press convert entity, and once that is converted, and now I can exit out of that sketch, and while that sketch is selected, you can go into the feature and press sweep. You want to select this circular profile and you want to sweep it. Is going to be 32. So the diameter of that tube is 32 millimeters, and click OK. And we are just going to repeat that process for everything. So for this top bar, we are going to select that again. Now select your right plane, draw a sketch, select that top bar, convert entity, exit your sketch, and go back to your feature, sweep. Make sure that sketch is selected and circular pattern, and that will be 36, and click OK. And we are going to do the same thing over here. Another sketch on the right plane, select this line and convert entity, exit sketch, and feature, sweep, circular, and that would also be 36. And the next thing we want to do is this one, this bottom bar. So we are going to do the same thing. Right plane, sketch, and we are going to select these two lines. So how you can select that two line is you can select that line, hold the control key and select the second line and convert entity and exit sketch and back to the sweep feature, circular, and that will be 36. And we have half of our frame done, and as you can see, everything is coming together. The only thing we have to do now is the back frame, and we are getting close. So the next thing we want to do is actually draw and select the right plane again, sketch, normal 2, and come up here and just draw a line that is coming from that midpoint out, and just draw a shape, something going like this, touching there and coming back and up. So what we are going to do is add a constraint to it. These two lines are perpendicular, that's what we want. Also make sure that this line and this line holding the control key are also perpendicular to each other, and make sure this line and that line are also, control key, make sure this line and this line are also perpendicular to each other. And now the distance of this line is going to be 7.5, and the top distance is going to be 20, and the angle is going to be 68. So from here to there is going to be 68. So that sketch is fully defined, and we want to do the same thing at the bottom. So again, draw a line from this point coming out and perpendicular, something over there, over here, and something like that. And make sure, again, add your constraint, make sure this line and that line are perpendicular to each other, and this line and this line are also perpendicular to each other, and this is 20. So we want to select that line, make it 20, and we want to select this line and make sure it is aligned, and that is 7.5. Or another way you can do it, and we want to bring this angle up, make sure that angle is up. And sometimes I think I was running into this problem earlier, so what we want to do now is select this edge, that edge, and this point, and I'm trying to make that coincident, but for some reason it's not doing that. So I am trying to make this point coincident with that edge, and it's not, for some reason it doesn't want to work. So what we can do is select this point, not the point, select this line and select this line, and since we are trying to make the same shape, just make those two lines equals to each other, and that should make this line the same length as that one. And now all I can do is just add my dimensions to it, and it will be, my dimension will be 68. I mean my angle dimension will be 68. So I have a sketch that's fully defined. Back into my feature revolve, and we want to revolve, and you know what, let's just cancel that, exit out of that sketch, and while your sketch is selected, now revolve. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I have this sketch open and sometimes it confuses SolidWorks. So your sketch 3 is selected and you just need to select the axis, so we're going to select this line. So now we're going to revolve that, and we have that shape. So the next thing we are going to do is start drawing, making this, designing this bars and frame back here. So the next thing we are going to do is draw a plane. So select your plane, and so what we want to do is select the right plane. So the new plane will be, you select your first reference plane is going to be the right plane. So while this sketch is still visible, select this top point as your second reference point, and select the origin point over there as your second. So it's pretty much the top first point over there and the second point. Let me zoom in so you can see it. So you have your new plane and click OK. So now we have our new reference plane. So while that plane is selected, we'll draw a sketch on it. So we'll go normal 2, and let me just make sure. So that's on the back. We want to go normal 2, normal 2. So make sure the origin, your origin point is kind of, the arrow is pointing in this direction. So we just want to draw a line, a midpoint line, and the line will be starting at this point, at this back point, and just draw something like that for now. And go normal 2 again, normal 2, and make sure that line is vertical, not vertical, horizontal, and just drag it somewhere here to make it coincident and make it a construction line. And that's all you need to do. So make sure you draw that line and exit out of that sketch. So the next thing we are going to do is draw another plane. So we're going to select the plane, and what we want to do now is select this line and select this point. So we want a plane that is laying on that sketch, and click OK, and that's what you want. So since we don't need that plane 1 for now, we're just going to hide that. So we have our new plane which is on this sketch. So what we're going to do is select that plane and start a sketch on it, normal 2, and make sure you go normal 2 again. So make sure your arrow is pointing this way, so that way that plane is on the top. So because if I go normal 2, and right now the plane is on the bottom, and it could be a little bit confusing. So make sure you go normal 2 and press it again, and make sure this arrow is pointing in this direction, so that way you're looking at it from the top. So what we want to do now is just draw our sketch. So I'm just going to bend this a little bit, and you want a line from that point. So just kind of draw a line and another line, and let me go normal 2, normal 2 again, so you see what's going on. So you want to draw kind of like a line like this, and also draw another line in the middle that is vertical, and make that line a construction line. So now we can temporarily hide that first sketch so you see what's going on. And so now we're just going to add our dimension from this point to that point. It is going to be 88.9, and that is the diameter. So notice when you select the point and select the center line and drag it out, it gives you the overall length, and that's what you want. And for this one, from this point to that point, that is going to be 330, and from this point to that top point, it is going to be 63.5, and we need one more. And from this point to the center line again, so if I move it here, you see it's giving me half of it, and when I move it to this side, it's giving me the entire length. So that is going to be 114.3, and click OK. So our sketch is fully defined. We need to add one more thing, so we are going to select the fillet tool and select that point to add your fillet, and change your fillet size to 76.2. So let me just zoom in so you see what's going on. 76.2, and click OK. So our sketch is fully defined, and let me move this around. Fully defined, and I'm just going to exit out, and I can hide that plane for now. And what we want to do is draw another plane. So what we can do is go back into our feature, select reference geometry plane, select this line, and select that point. So that way we have a plane that is perpendicular to that line, and that's what we want. And now we are going to select that. I didn't select. Okay, so let me do that again. Reference geometry plane, this point, this line, and that point, and click OK. So we have our plane 3, and while that plane is selected, you're going to start a sketch. And so your sketch is on that plane. Make sure you go normal 2. It should look something like this, and zoom in, and now draw an ellipse on that point, on that origin point. Just draw your ellipse, something coming up and there. Make sure this point and the origin point is vertical to each other. The top dimension, this dimension is going to be 15.5, and the second dimension, which is from this point to that point, is going to be 12. And now once our sketch is fully defined, we're going to exit out of that sketch, and we can hide our plane 3 for now so it doesn't get confusing. So we have our profile and we have our path, and what we are going to do is go into the sweep feature, sweep, select your profile, and select your path, and you're just going to sweep it around there, and make sure your profile, your path, and select OK. So that we have that top frame done. So we need to do the same thing at the bottom. So let's show that first sketch again. So now select your top plane, which is right there. Draw a sketch, which is going to be a midpoint line, and go normal 2, and just start the sketch at the origin point and drag it somewhere out like that, and make sure it is horizontal, and make it a construction line, and exit out. And now you want to draw a reference plane. So now go back into your feature, reference geometry plane, select that line you just drew, and select this point. So you draw your reference plane on that bottom edge on that bottom sketch. So I hope you can see. I know it's a little bit confusing, but I hope I've been able to explain it a little bit clear. And click OK. So now while that new plane is selected, you want to draw a sketch and go normal to, so that way you're looking at it, and go normal to again, so that way you're looking at it from this point. So what we want to do is, first of all, we want to make sure that this profile, let's show that sketch. So what we are going to do is, we are going to select this sketch, that sketch, and this sketch, and we are going to convert entity, and you can hide it now once you do that. So we have that sketch over there, and we are going to draw a line from this point just coming down. Just draw a line that is vertical coming down and kind of like touching that sketch. So a line coming down, and the distance from this line to the origin point, it is going to be let me make sure that line is vertical, and the distance from this line to the origin point is going to be 25. So everything is fully defined. So what we're going to do is, we can trim this excess line off, and at this point we are going to add a fillet over here. So let me select my fillet and change my fillet size to 22, and I'm going to add it over here and click OK. So I have a fully defined sketch, and I'm just going to exit out, and again, so you see what's going on, and I can hide that plane 4. Let me just hide it, and let me exit out of the sketch. So the next thing we are going to do now is draw another plane, reference plane, select this line and select that. So select that line and select this point. So you draw a reference plane over there and click OK. And now once you have your sketch, while that plane is selected, draw a sketch, normal to, and make sure you just draw an ellipse on that. Make sure it is on that point and something going out like that, and I can go normal to again, and I'm going to zoom in, make this point and the origin point vertical again. Now add your dimension. This is going to be 15.5, and coming down from that point to that point is going to be 12. And exit your sketch. I can hide that plane now, and we have our profile and our path. So again, go into your sweep feature, select that ellipse you just drew, and select the sketch as your path. So you have that, and click OK. So, and now we're moving along with this, and the next thing we need to do is select the right plane. And before I do that, make sure this top part, this top sweep, show that sketch. And let's hide this for now. Let's hide that sketch. I don't want everything to get confusing, and we can hide this sketch too. We don't need that sketch. So just showing that top sketch. So select the right plane, and now select reference geometry plane, and our first reference plane is the right plane. And now we want to select the start point on that sketch as the second point, because we want to draw that plate between these two features. So click OK. So while that plane is selected, draw your sketch and normal 2, and now we're just going to draw another ellipse somewhere over here. So we're going to draw something like that, and so the dimension from this to that going up is 50. The dimension from here to here is 62.770, and the dimension from this top to the origin point, and I'm gonna have to like move it around to be able to get that dimension. Okay, so make sure you move it up somewhere. So the dimension from here to here, it is not that point, this point and the origin point, and I want something linear. I'm not getting that now, so let me add a couple the other ones maybe. So the origin point to the midpoint of that ellipse, it is going to be 337, and add another dimension from this point to the origin point, and that is going to be 328. And now let's try that dimension again. So I'm going to add another dimension from this to the origin point, and there we go. So just drag it somewhere out over here and click, and that will be 8. But now I can just move it somewhere over there. So my sketch is fully defined and I have my profile. So what I'm going to do is exit, and I'm going to go into my feature, extrude, and you want to extrude it by the mid plane, and it is going to be 3.7846. So 3.7846, and click OK. So now we have that. Another thing we want to do is add a draft angle here. So click on this draft, and your reference plane is going to be that plane, which is your plane 6, and you should just select this two face, and the draft angle is going to be 65, and click OK. So you have that draft angle, and we are going to do the same thing on this side. Draft, select this plane first so it shows plane 6, and select those two face and click apply. So the draft is going in the wrong direction, so we are going to just, I can click OK and come down here and just edit that draft, and what I want to do is switch the direction and click OK. So now I have it going in the right direction. So the next thing we want to do is we can now hide this sketch. We really don't need it, and we can hide this sketch as well. Oops, hide this sketch as well, and let's show our first sketch because we need that. Click on this face and draw a sketch. So go normal 2. You can hide that plane 6 too, just so it doesn't get confusing. So we are drawing a sketch on this plane. So what you want to do now is just draw a line. Just draw 2 lines over here and draw another line down here, and click this line and that circle and make sure they are tangent, and click this bottom line and that circle as well, make sure they are tangent to each other, and also draw another circle over here, something like that, and make this circle and that line tangent to each other, and make the circle and the bottom line also tangent to each other. So you have something like that. And another thing you will have to do is make this line and this line parallel to each other, and just drag them out like that. And what we are going to do is add our dimension, and first I'm just going to trim this off. So trim that off so the circle it looks something like that, and close this off, and you can make this a vertical line. It doesn't really matter as long as it's sticking out. And now add the dimension from the origin point to it's going to be from the origin point, no, not from there, this point to the origin point. So that point to the origin point is going to be 331.82, and we want to select this point to the center line of that circle is going to be 17.89, and the last one we want to do is just fully define this. So you can just add a dimension here, just fully define it. And I have a sketch sticking out over here, so I'm just going to delete that. And make sure your sketch is fully defined, and now go back to your feature, extrude cut, and you want to extrude cut to next. So to next and click OK. So next we have pretty much half of that done. So what we are going to do is mirror it over. So let me hide that sketch again for now. So we have that feature, let's mirror it over. So select your mirror, the right plane, you want to mirror it about the right plane, and the features you want to mirror is starting from that sweep 6, and pretty much everything right under it. And make sure you select everything and click OK. Good. So now what we want to do is start adding fillet to it. So select your fillet tool, and it's going to be 1.25, and we are going to just add, we won't be able to add the fillet to everything, not the face, the edge. So we're just going to systematically add the fillet one by one to the ones that we can add it to, and we might have to do it multiple times. So I added it up there, add it back here, and also here, and for some reason, let me go back. So verify my mirror tool. For some reason my draft angle, this wasn't selected, so I'm going to select that and make sure that is also showing in there and click OK, because when I looked over here the draft wasn't on it. Okay, so now let's try that again. Fillet, and I'm going to add my fillet 1.25 to that edge, this edge. So you pretty much want to add the fillet all around, so just try any method that works for you. And this edge, the same thing over here, this edge and this edge. And let me see if I can add more, maybe this back edge, and I'm going to try the same thing over here. And right there, and I'm going to try this bottom and the same thing over here. And click OK. Okay, so we are going to click the fillet again, but now we want to add it to this face, that edge, not the face, the edge, this edge and that edge. And we want to do the same thing on this side too. Add it to this edge and this edge, and select the back ones too. and this one. And once you have it on all 4 edges, click OK. And the last thing we want to do is add it to this, add a fillet to this. So we're going to fillet, and let's try this face and that face. And you can click this edge and this edge. So you have your fillet going all the way around. And we want to do the same thing here to this face and to that face and this edge and that edge, and click OK. So we pretty much have the entire frame done. The only thing we need to add now is a couple of fillets over there and the details, couple of details. And the next thing we need to do is select your plane 2, which is the plane that you use to make this frame. Select that frame and draw a sketch, and go normal 2 again, and also make sure that that frame is on the bottom. So I'm going to go normal 2 and normal 2 again, so that frame is on the top. So make sure the arrow is pointing in this direction. And now just draw a, at this origin point, just draw a line, so something like that. So it's going to be a midpoint line. So draw a midpoint line somewhere over here, and make sure the line is horizontal. You know what, now make sure, put this point and the origin point, make them coincident with each other, and just draw that line coming out somewhere over here, and make that line a construction line. And now draw a 3-point arc touching that line, and just draw it something like that. And now that arc is going to be, it is going to be, the radius is going to be so click your dimension, the radius is going to be 66.41, and you can move this line up to the inside a little bit. The dimension of that line is going to be 96.31. So that is fully defined. So now what you want to do is click your offset and offset this line and reverse. You want to offset it down, and it's going to be 10, and click OK. And just drag this edge out a little bit and drag this edge out a little bit. Draw another line coming down, and draw another line over here coming down, and make sure that point and that line are merge those two, and over here do the same thing, merge those two, and so your sketch is fully defined. So the only thing we want to do now is draw a line that is kind of coincident with, you see when I hover over here, you see this yellow thing flashing. So make sure the line is coincident, or you can also make the line coincident with the vertical. It's the same. Make sure that line is a construction line. So now I'm just going to draw a circle. So if I hover on that line too, the yellow thing is flashing, I'm going to draw the circle on that point, and my circle is going to be 4. So everything is fully defined, and just so you see what we have. And now I'm just going to go back to my feature, extrude by the mid plane, and I'm just going to extrude it by 2, and click OK. So the next thing we're going to do is just add fillet to it. So on this all 4 edge, we're going to add a fillet 2, and click this edge, that one. We're going to do the same thing on this side. And click OK. And now add another fillet on this top edge, but that fillet, make sure you change it to 0.5 and add it over here, this back edge and down here, and click OK. So the next thing we want to do is add more details to it. So over here you can select here that face, sketch, normal 2, and draw a circle. It's going to be add a dimension to it 48, and feature extrude cut, and it is going to be 10. Click OK. And what you're going to do is mirror that feature over by the right plane to the other side. So you have your extrude cut selected and right plane, mirror it over. And now we select this inside face, sketch, normal 2, and draw a circle that is going to be 39. Add the dimension 39, extrude cut, and want to extrude cut up to next. So that hole is going through it, and click OK. So the next thing we are going to do is add a fillet to this edge and that edge, and the fillet size is going to be 4, and click OK, and add another fillet again to the inside edge and inside edge over there, and click OK. So the next thing we are going to do is over here we have that gap. Let's click on the draft, and you want to add a draft angle about the right plane, and it is going to be 36 degrees, and we want to add it to this face, and click OK. And yes, click OK. And we want to do the same thing on this side. So draft the right plane, and we select this face and click OK. Again, the draft is going in the wrong angle, so the wrong direction, so I'm just going to edit it and change the direction and click OK. So we have that. The only thing we need to do now is add maybe a couple of details here, and we are going to be done. And next, so next let's add a fillet actually to this edge. So this 4 edge, we're just going to add a fillet to it. See if I can select that, this edge, and I'm not sure what's going on, but let me select this. Here you go. And let me see if I don't think I can add a fillet to it. So there are a couple of places we want to add a fillet to. Here, here, down here, there, and here as well, and here, also up here. I think I have everything, and I think I want to add fillet to that. Oh, it works. And make sure you select this edge as well. So we have all the places we want to add our fillet, and we'll click OK. So we have all our fillet in the right places now. So we want one more fillet over there, and that will be 3. And click that edge and click that edge and click OK. So adding more details to it, click this top face, sketch, number 2, and we are going to add draw a circle. Dimension is 29, and feature extrude cut, and we want to extrude cut down up to next. So it's coming down to that point, and click OK. So the last couple of things we want to do is just over here. So on this top face, sketch, number 2, and zoom in, and I'm just going to draw a circle that is coincident with that center point of that circle, and the dimension is going to be 34. And feature extrude cut, and I'm going to select up to next, so it's cutting all the way down, and click OK. Again, select the top face and sketch, and number 2, on that top face draw a sketch and draw another circle that is, so if you hover over this, that center point should show, and just draw your circle and add the dimension to it, and it will be 37. And feature extrude cut, we extrude cut down 4, and click OK. And we want to do the same thing on the bottom. Select that face, sketch, number 2, draw your circle. So if you hover over this, there you go, the center point, and that is also 37. And feature extrude cut 4, click OK. And the last thing we want to do is just add the fillet. So add a fillet here, and the fillet size will be 2. We add it up here too. Click OK, and add another fillet on this top edge, and on that top edge, that is 2, and click OK. And there you go, and you have your frame fully designed and ready to go. And what you can do now is just add an appearance. So if I go to plane, the paint, and I can select the paint down car, and I'm just going to do the blue paint, drag it on there, and if I turn on my real graphics, and there you go, you have the frame. And that's pretty much how you design it. Thank you. If there's any way I could have improved this tutorial, and I hope it was easy to follow. I know designing this has a lot of feature in it, and I hope I've been able to explain it in a way that it was easy for you to follow it. Thank you, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.